Oh dear, Alfred. It doesn't look very good outside today, does it? It's raining. I don't know what we're going to do for the tutorial today. We can't go outside. It's horrible. There'll probably be monsters out there as well. So I guess we're going to have to think of something to do inside today. Oh, hello Fretwellers, and welcome back to my Minecraft tutorial. This is episode 70. And I was just talking to Alfred here about what to do in today's tutorial. So, what do you think we should do, Alfred? It's raining outside. Anything? Ah, okay. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So, what we're going to be looking at today is we're going to be looking at more on cooking and the hunger bar. So, we kind of did a little bit on this way back in episode 2. 68 episodes ago, about 8 or 9 months ago, but we never covered it in depth. And in 1.6, hunger changed, and it changed quite dramatically in order to balance it. So what we're going to be doing in today's episode is we're going to be talking about how hunger works now, and some of the things that can cause hunger that didn't before, and I'm going to show you how to craft all of the new items and some of the old items that have been added in past Minecraft versions, which you can eat. So first off, we should start by talking a little bit about what hunger actually is. So hunger is that bar down there at the bottom right, the little meat pups, and when you do things in the game, so mine, run, dig things with your shovel, whatever, your hunger bar gets drained, and it gets drained by a little amount each time. Now, there's a concept that you need to understand, and that is that there is an extra bar that drains before the hunger bar. So if you've ever wondered why you're mining a lot and your hunger bar isn't draining straight away, that is because there's almost like a second invisible bar, and that is called the saturation bar. And the saturation bar has another 20 points, and that gets used up first. Now, when you eat food and you fill up, you also get a certain amount of saturation from that. So the saturation gets used up first and then the hunger. So you've got to kind of imagine that there is another bar above hunger, which is saturation. Now at the moment I'm full, so if I went and did anything, it would start eating into my saturation before my hunger. And we have 20 points of saturation as well as 20 points of hunger. You can tell that we have 20 points of hunger because before we lose an entire meat pop, we lose that small segment of it. So that shows as you're getting hungry that you've lost half of the meat pop, and then you go down to 9. So, ooh, that didn't sound good. That's the first thing to understand, and that is the fact that we have a saturation bar. So the effects of the hunger bar is when the food bar is at 18, so 9 meat pops or above, the player will heal hearts, 1 heart per 4 seconds. That's been pretty standard since 1.8. That hasn't changed in any way. When the food bar is at 3 meat pops or below, the player cannot run. You lose that ability. And when the food bar is at nothing and it's totally empty, you will starve. Now, depending on the difficulty, this could lead to death. I believe that it brings you down to half health on easy, 1 heart on normal, and on hard or hardcore it will kill you outright. So it's always important to remember not to let yourself get too hungry, and always make sure that you have a somewhat full belly. So there are the effects of the hunger bar. So now let's talk about something that occurs when eating certain foods, and that is called food poisoning. Now food poisoning comes from raw chicken, zombie flesh, and spider eyes. I don't believe that there are anything else that induces it. Although spider eyes are a special type of poisoning which is different from the raw chicken and the zombie meat. So that's just something to consider. So if you've ever seen the hunger bar go green from eating a piece of zombie flesh or a piece of raw chicken, and I think a poisoned potato as well, but I think that behaves like the spider eye. If you've ever experienced that, then you have been food poisoned. And what that does is it causes you to lose saturation or hunger at a faster rate. So let's just do some squats and hops here. Squat, hop, and let's just do a little bit of running. We're doing our exercises. We're going to wear down our hunger bar. This could be doing combat, it could be doing anything. It really doesn't matter what it is that you're actually doing. And, oh, have they not fixed that bug yet? Look at this, man. Look at this. They'll probably die when it stops raining, though, and the sun comes up. So we just need to do a couple of laps around the cottage here. Up, 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 up. We're doing our exercises today. Instead of working out in the fields, we're just having a bit of a run. Hopefully, fairly soon, the hunger bar will begin to drain so that we can then start and eat something. Now, as you can see down there on my food bar, I've been using steak for my food. Now, steak is a really, really filling food, so it's going to take a while and it's going to require a lot of running or mining or fighting or whatever it is that you need to do to drain it, because that means it's a really good food. Now, if it doesn't take very long to get hungry, that means that the saturation or the number of meat pops from that piece of food is not very good. So it's a balance. You need to get better food. Ah, there we go. I said that kind of fast. It's a balance. You need to get the right type of food for the job. So as you can see, my hunger bar is now beginning to deplete. We've lost one meat pop. Now, whoops, sorry, Alfred. We're going to eat a piece of zombie flesh, because this has an 80% chance of food poisoning, and all in the name of science and teaching you guys, I'm going to food poison myself. So here we go. As you can see, the bar goes green, and what will happen now is the food bar will begin to deplete at a faster rate. Now, if I start running around, it's going to deplete even faster. So if you need to eat something in a pinch, zombie flesh can be a good way to go, but if you do go that route, then I would stand still while eating it. Just block yourself in somewhere. And this will last for, I believe, 15 or 20 seconds. So just be aware of that. A similar thing can happen with eating raw chicken, but the chance of actually getting poisoned is only 30%. Like that time, I did not get poisoned, but it can induce poison. Now, spider eyes, and I believe poisonous potatoes, these give you a different type of poison. Instead of poisoning your hunger bar, these poison your health bar. So if you need to eat something in a snap, and you've got a full hunger bar, then the spider eye or the poisoned potato is probably the better way to go, because after a couple of seconds, your health is just going to regenerate anyway. So let's eat a spider eye. As you can see, that induces 5 seconds of poison, and I've lost a bit of health. Same thing happens with the poisonous potato, although I think this only has a 60% chance of actually poisoning you, unlike the spider eye, which gives you a 100% chance of being poisoned. Yeah, see, I think that only has 60% chance. And there will be a link down below to the hunger page on the Minecraft wiki, so you can verify the math for yourself. I'm just giving you an idea of what happens to these things. And hunger from eating food lasts 30 seconds, apparently, from food poisoning. I don't think that was 30 seconds, but it may well have been. So now, let's talk about the exhaustion level. And what the exhaustion level is whatever you're doing and how quickly that will drain the hunger or saturation. So different things take different amount of time, obviously. Walking and sneaking per block is 0.01. Swimming is 0.015. Breaking a block is 0.025. Sprinting is 0.1. Jumping 0.2, attacking an enemy 0.3, receiving any damage 0.3, effects of food poisoning 0.5 per second, sprint jump is 0.8, and regenerating 1 health point from being well fed is 3. So depending on what happens to you can then depend on what you need to do after that point. So slowly but surely doing all these things. So for right now, I'm walking around, I'm losing exhaustion levels from that. If I went for a swim, I would lose some from that. As I break that block, I would lose some. Sprinting, food poisoning, as we've just covered, that obviously drains it as well. Doing a sprint jump, so one of these, this is a huge one that sinks the hunger bar very fast. And we'll get to the last one, regenerating 1 health point from being well fed, a little later, because that was a new change in 1.6. So now let's make some food, because we've talked about everything that we need to up until this point. So let's go and cook ourselves and make ourselves some food. Now there's lots of food in the game to explore and check out, and as I say, there will be a link on the Minecraft wiki, well, to the Minecraft wiki, if you are unsure about any of the foods or how to make them and so forth. So the first one we're going to look at is the apple, and the apple restores 2 meat pops, and it also gives you 2.4 in saturation. And then finally there is an extra value called the effective quality, which is basically just an overview of how good the food is as a whole. So the apple is not great. It's kind of handy in a snap, but it's not great. You're better off making a golden apple instead with those and saving them. But there's the apple. Next up on the list is the baked potato, and the baked potato restores 6 meat pops, 6 hunger points, 3 meat pops, and gives you 7.2 saturation. And by the way, both of these are out of 20, so the baked potato is sort of middle ground. It's not too bad, but it definitely could be better, put it that way. And I'm just gonna toss a plank in there. So next up is, well, we'll just show you that. You cook that in a furnace. The next one up is bread, and bread restores 5 meat pops, which is 2.5 points on the hunger bar, and its saturation is 6. And you can actually find bread in different chests, and you can make it by putting 3 pieces of wheat next to each other in your crafting grid, and you get a piece of bread. So that's bread. Now cakes, and we've never actually made a cake, and I can't believe that we never have made a cake. But then again, the thing is with cakes, don't think I've ever made more than 2 in my entire time playing the game in over a year, because I just never find a use for them. And actually, we can't make a cake. We are missing milk. I'm going to have to go back tomorrow and get some milk from some cows in some buckets before we can make cakes. So we're going to come back to that one. So now we're going to talk about instead the carrot. And the carrot restores 2 meat pops, 4 hunger points. They just mean the same thing, and gives you 4.8 in saturation. So the carrot is kind of a basic food. It's worse than the potato, but it can be handy in a real pinch. But the best thing to do with carrots, if you want to eat those, is turn them into golden carrots, and we're going to get to those in a minute. But golden carrots are actually the best food in the game. Bugs Bunny would be proud. So after that is chicken. That restores 3 meat pops, which is 6 hunger points, and it gives you 7.2 saturation. So it's about the same as a baked potato, a cooked chicken. I would have thought cooked chicken would have been more, but apparently not. The baked potato is the same as cooked chicken. Now the next one is cooked fish. We have not done fishing as a tutorial yet, and we won't be doing fishing until 1.7 because fishing is being rewritten in 1.7, so there's no point me showing you something which in maybe 2 months or so is going to be invalid, so we're going to wait until then. But you can cook fish after catching them, and that will give you similar to bread, 2.5 meat pops, which is 5 hunger points, and it will give you 6 in saturation. So moving on from that, we have the cooked pork chop, which is one of the best foods in the game, and the cooked pork chop will give you 4 meat pops, 8 hunger points, and in terms of saturation, it will give you 12.8 out of 20. So eating a cooked pork chop is a very, very good idea. So you need to breed up your pigs, and at that point you will be good to go from there. By the way, we've kind of missed some of the crafting recipes for these, but carrots you just harvest, cooked chicken you cook in a furnace, as you could imagine. In fact, we can show that off now. Cooked chicken you can just toss in a furnace and you will get that. Cooked fish, again, you catch a fish, toss it in a furnace. Cooked pork chop, again, you just get a pork chop and toss it in the furnace. We'll do that in a minute. And we are lagging pretty heavily from the zombies that are outside. So things are just taking their time to kind of materialize. Jeez, that is a lot of zombies. I don't have to worry about getting flesh anymore, that's for sure. It's been faster than my zombie grinder, that is. So let it cook the raw chicken, and then we'll show you how to do the raw pork chop. In hindsight, we could have shown the next one, but there we are. So now we can toss our raw pork chop in there, and we have our cooked chicken. I'm going to have to start and put some things away because we're getting pretty clogged up in terms of inventory room. There we are, I'll just have to worm my way down there. We're done with the zombie flesh and the spider eyes now. And we are also done with the baked potato, the cooked chicken, the bread, the raw chicken, and the raw pork chops. Well, we haven't really covered the raw pork chop or the raw chicken yet, so we'll get to those. So the next one is the cookie, and everybody's favourite. And to make a cookie, to make 8 cookies, you're going to need 2 pieces of wheat and a cocoa bean in the middle, and you get 8 cookies. And this gives you 2 hunger points, which is the same as 1 meat pop, but its saturation is rubbish. 0.4 in terms of saturation, that is not very good. It is one of the worst foods in the game, but it is nice just to make some cookies to give to friends, or maybe for a dessert after a meal. I don't know, give one to Alfred over there. Yeah, Alfred, have a cookie for all your hard work. I don't think he really cares about it that much. I don't know as I would, to be honest, if I threw a cookie at him, or if he threw a cookie at me. But there we go. So after that we have the golden apple, the enchanted golden apple, and the golden carrot. Now I'm not going to craft these right now because it's really not worth it. But the golden apple restores 2 meat pops, same as 4 hunger points, and gives you 9.6 saturation. So not quite as good as the pork chop, but that also gives you potion effects as well. Now the enchanted golden apple is exactly the same, the one crafted with the gold blocks. That's 4 hunger points, 2 meat pops, and 9.6 in terms of saturation. So golden apples are okay. The advantage to having golden apples with you is that you can actually use them while you're full, because you can get the potion effects from them. So you can kind of give your saturation a bit of a boost if you're full, if you want to go into a big combat, say with maybe a boss or something. You can actually do that. And the golden carrot is the best food in the game. The golden carrot is crafted by the way, the golden apples, it's just the same as I showed before. An apple in the middle and gold nuggets or gold blocks surrounding the apple, and then you'll get the respective apple. Golden carrots are crafted by placing golden nuggets around a carrot. I think we did that in the potion brewing episode, but if you haven't seen that one, then you have a quick recap. So that restores 6 hunger points, which is the same as 3 meat pops, and gives you 14.4 saturation. The disadvantage, though, is golden carrots require a lot of gold, which is a very rare mineral. However, people have found ways to get around this, and we're going to look at that way down the line, sort of post our boss fights, which are the next couple of things we're going to be doing. We're going to build ourselves a zombie pigman farm, and that gives us access to unlimited gold. So we are going to be able to live off golden carrots further down the line. So next up is the melon slice, which you can get from harvesting a melon, and the melon itself restores 2 hunger points, which is 1 meat pop, the same as a cookie, but it only gives you 1.2 saturation. So it is a bit better than the cookie, but not much better. You know, it's okay. It's good if you need fast food, so to speak, because you do get 3 or 4 melons, or maybe a few more, by harvesting the block. And by the way, one thing we never did show is you can actually craft melon blocks by just putting 9 slices into the crafting grid and then getting a melon. And I believe if you break this down with a fortune based item, then you can get more than the regular amount of melons from that. And for some reason there we go. How many melons did we actually get from that? Well, we got 6, but there we go. So that's the melon. So next up is the mushroom stew, or some people call it mushroom soup. And you need a bowl for this, so to craft a bowl, 3 wooden planks as if you were crafting a bucket, and you will get 4 bowls. Then to make mushroom soup, you put 1 of each mushroom and the bowl anywhere in your crafting grid, it doesn't matter, or you can do it in the small one. You can get some mushroom stew. Now mushroom stew gives you 6 meat pops, sorry, not meat pops, 6 hunger points, 3 meat pops, and 7.2 saturation. So it's basically the same as eating a potato. It's about the same as that. But the disadvantage to using this is, as you make them, they do not stack. Unlike other types of food, you can't stack them. So these are useful if you need something in a quick hurry, or if you're just around your base, they can be a handy food instead of wasting the better stackable food. But the huge disadvantage is obviously that you have to carry around lots of mushroom stew. Now, you could easily just carry around 2 stacks of mushroom and 2 stacks of mushrooms and a single bowl, and you would be fine. But that is 3 inventory spots, as opposed to, say, getting a bunch of baked potatoes and only having 1 inventory space. So it's kind of a hassle, but it is there. It's ideal if you're out in the field and you run out of everything else. There is typically mushrooms underground, and you're probably going to have wood with you, so you could just make yourself some mushroom soup or mushroom stew. So back to the poisonous potato. The poisonous potato will restore 2 hunger points, which is the same as 1 meat pop, and will give you 1.2 saturation, so the same as the melon slice, but you get a 60% chance of getting poisoned. And that is not the hunger bar poisoning, that's like what we saw with the spider eye, the actual health bar getting poisoned. So the next one is the normal potato. So if you didn't cook it and just ate it in its raw form, you would get only 1 hunger point from that, which is half a meat pop, and you would get 0.6 in terms of saturation. So that is probably the worst food of them all, to eat potatoes on their own. Most people have access to a furnace before they have access to potatoes, so you should be good to go on that one. Now then, this one, pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie, this night has gone on forever, I swear. But pumpkin pie is a unique one in a sense that it can be crafted in both crafting grids, and it gives you the joint most, I believe, hunger points and meat pops, but its saturation is not very good. So let's craft a pumpkin pie. You're going to need a pumpkin. Before you need the pumpkin, you need sugar, which you can get from sugarcane, sugar, an egg, and a pumpkin, and you will get a pumpkin pie. So the pumpkin pie restores 8 hunger points, which is 4 meat pops, and it will give you 4.8 in terms of saturation. Now these can stack, so they're a better alternative to, say, something along the lines of mushroom soup, but pumpkins are rare. You can get a lot of them and use them, but you can't find them underground as easily. The advantage is, though, you can craft them while you're kind of hanging around. If you happen to, if you happen to need some food really quickly, you can just carry some pumpkins around and some eggs and some sugar, and you can get yourself some pumpkin pies. But that's that. Raw beef will give you 3 hunger points, which is 1.5 meat pops, and it will give you 1.8 in terms of saturation. And that's not that great. It's, again, a pretty good idea to cook it if you can. But there we go. Some people who may not have access to a furnace, for example, in a custom map, they might want to use raw beef. But raw beef will not poison you. Unlike raw chicken does, raw beef and raw pork chops will not poison you. Next up is the raw chicken, and that will give you 2 hunger points, 1 meat pop, and it will give you 1.2 in terms of saturation. The disadvantage with that, though, is you get 30% chance of food poisoning, so it's going to eradicate the 1.2 saturation you get pretty much straight away. After that, we have the raw fish, and the raw fish is what we've not looked at yet, but we will do further down the line. That gives you 2 hunger points, which is 1 meat pop, and will give you 1.2 in terms of saturation. It's the same as any other raw food. Raw pork chops is the exact same as beef, raw beef. That is 3 hunger points, which is 1.5 meat pops, and 1.8 in terms of saturation. Zombie flesh is 4 hunger points, and 2 meat pops, and 0.8 in terms of saturation. So that's not very good either, but it can do in a quick jiff if you really need it. Spider eyes, they give you 2 hunger points, which is the same as 1 meat pop, and that gives you 3.2 in terms of saturation. So it's pretty good on saturation, but with the changes to hunger that was made in 1.6, it makes it a lot worse than it used to be. And finally, steak gives you 8 hunger points, which is 4 meat pops, and gives you 12.8 saturation. So the only thing we have left now to show off is the cake, which we're going to go and get the equipment for in a moment. And we also need to talk a little bit about how hunger changed in 1.6. So hunger changed in 1.6 by the big fact that I think, yeah, you need 3. So we're going to need 9 ingots. What happened with it was that now, if you take damage from any source, then instead of just giving it you back normally like it used to, instead now it takes, should I say, part of your saturation or hunger. Again, before 9 meat pops, it's going to start regenerating health, but after that, then it's not going to do anything for you, so you're going to be pretty much screwed. And now we've got to try and fight our way through here. And this is the problem we face with the zombies. It's quite a major bug. Can I try and get that creeper from around the fence? I don't want him getting too close. Here we are. There we go. How many zombies are out here now? There must be a lot. That is a lot of zombies. And there's some in that pond down there as well. There's a lot of zombies around here. We don't have to worry about those. But if I open that gate, they're going to come flooding around. The lag is going to get relieved because they can reach Alfred. So we've got a bit of a problem, and I can't sleep either because the problem with sleeping is there are monsters nearby, so I can't sleep. But so yeah, if I take damage, then it's going to restore from my hunger bar, and the rate at which it does that is 3 from your saturation or your hunger each time. So it's going to drain your food bar pretty darn fast if you take a lot of damage. So you're always going to want to have food on you. Running out of food is a bad idea. That is a lot of zombies. If I can open and close the gate fast enough, then we should be fine. There we go. But this is going to lag terribly because of the zombies, unfortunately. So hopefully we can kind of just get out of range, and hopefully the lag will kind of alleviate itself. Because now we need to get ourselves some milk. Now, is this guy aggravated on me? Yeah, he's aggravated on me. They have an extended range now too. Oh good, morning's coming as well. Hopefully I can jump in a bed. I'm going to head up to the blacksmith and hopefully get into a bed before... Stop haranguing me, spider. Hang you. Hopefully I can get into a bed before the morning arrives so I can engage the sun. Oh, and of course there has to be monsters nearby because this darn spider. Hopefully now that baby zombie is far enough away that he's not going to prevent that from happening. So yeah, as far as the hunger change is concerned, you always, as I say, want to make sure that you've got food on you. You always want to make sure that you don't let it run low, because taking damage is going to make it heal even more, take more of your saturation away. It's kind of complicated to explain how it actually works, but basically, in a nutshell, the simple way of explaining it is every time you take damage, the health is taken out of your hunger bar, and that is at a rate of 3 saturation points per heart. So every 4 seconds you're going to lose 3 of your saturation, and then it's going to start eating into your hunger bar until it reaches 9, and then it's not going to start regenerating again. So you're going to need to make sure that you're topped up with food. I would recommend going with something like steak if you can. If you can't, then try and just keep going down the ladder. The wiki page will be there for you. All these guys all despawned. The wiki page will be around if you want to take a bit more of an in-depth look at it to find out which is actually the best food for you. But if you can, the best food in the game, if you have a gold farm, is golden carrots. But to craft a cake, you're going to need sugar. You're going to need 2 sugar. Now, it's been a while since I've crafted one. You're going to need 3 milk, 2 sugar, 3 wheat, I believe, and an egg in the middle. No? Or it might be 2 wheat, 1 sugar, perhaps? I've not crafted a cake in such a long time. Or is it maybe 3 sugar? That might be it. Just throw it all on the floor. Let me try and get myself another piece of sugar, and let's try it like this. 3 sugar, 3 wheat. No? What am I missing now then? Got the 3 buckets of milk. The 3 wheat. I'm missing something. I don't know what it is though. I know it's not just that. There is something I just put in there and I am now forgetting it. I'm going to have to take a look at this one because I can't remember exactly. Eggs, that was it. Is it an egg in the middle maybe? No, 3 sugar. Then an egg maybe in the middle of that. I honestly have no idea. I could be at this for a long time if I don't go and look it up. I don't think it's 3 sugar. It's not that, is it? It's not just 1 sugar. It could be that it is that. I'm going to go look it up, guys, and I'll be right back once I know how to craft a cake. So I'll be right back, guys. There we go. It's 3 milk buckets, 3 wheat. I had it right. It was just in the wrong order. And 2 sugar and an egg in the middle, and you get cake. Now, cake is, yes, achievement get the lie. Cake is a bit unique in the way that it's eaten. We're going to actually have to right-click to put this down, and you actually get the cake in the world, and you eat it by taking a slice. Each time you take a slice. So you also get your buckets back from crafting, so that's always good. But if I get hungry, I can right click on this and I eat a slice of it. Now let's just get hungry. Cake is not the best. It does restore the most meat pops technically because each slice restores 1 meat pop, and I forget the saturation now, but I think it's around maybe it's one of the lowest around. But if you got really hungry and you have the resources, then a cake could be a really useful thing to eat. Here we are. So that's always something to consider. If you have the resources, here we are, let's eat a cake, and you take a slice of it. And I think there are either 6 or 8 slices. It's one of them, but I can't be entirely sure. If you left click on the cake, you will eventually break it, and you won't get any yield for doing that. So I don't know how long this cake is going to be in the window, but I know Alfred will be eyeing it up. He loves his cake, so this is Alfred. Where is it anyway? Oh, it's right there. I will probably finish it off before the flies touch it. But there we go. So that's going to be just about it for this tutorial, guys. In today's tutorial we talked about hunger and saturation in more depth. We shown how to craft all the different food items with the exception of fish, and we'll get to that soon. And aside from that, we also talked about how hunger has changed in 1.6. The fact that now if you take damage, you actually need to restore your health using the hunger bar. So as I say, there will be a link down below to the Minecraft wiki page where you can check out more in-depth information about this. Next episode we're going to be taking a look at some new changes in 1.6 as well. We're going to be taking a look at the potion changes. Not too much more to talk about with that. And then after that I think we're going to get back to something more creative, and we're going to start with the hardened clay blocks. So yeah, that's just about it from me today, guys. I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial and found it useful, and I hope to see you in the next episode. So until then, guys, see you later and have a good day.